So probably at this moment you guys already know that I adore the Hollow House. I'm probably saying it wrong because I never know how to pronounce hollow. Hollow, 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 owl, 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 Hollow House. So like a crazy fan that I am, you guys already know why this video is already here, and for the title, you probably know Leah came up with a new theories, and you are fucking right. And one of the fears that I'm gonna talk about is the Grom itself. And I already know that you guys loved my Steven Universe theories when the future was on. And yes, I had a few theories and some of them was a kinda confirmed. But hey, on the Grom theory, I have to rewatch every single episode over and over and over and
over again,
analyzing and study how Amity and Luz and everyone was behaving. So grab your popcorn and sit down because this is gonna be good. So for the people who already follow me on Instagram, I posted that theory because that theory was in my head after watching Grom many times. And after watching that, it's not because I love, you know, the ship Amity and the dance and the animation and just because I like seeing Luz fighting monsters, but there was something more about Grom that we actually didn't realize. So for the people who doesn't know what Grom really is, Amity, could you be a sweetheart and explain?
That's Grom, short for Prometheus the Fearbringer. It's a monster that lives under the school. Every year it tries to break out, and a student has to defeat it before it invades the town. Ever the optimist, Bump holds a party and calls it tradition. The worst thing is that Grom can read minds and shapeshift into your worst fear. And mine is very embarrassing.
You guys remember when Luz was fighting Grom, Grom shapeshifts into Luz's fears, like human souls being on cat bodies and jerks online who wants to bay, and Ida. But have you guys realizing that Ida's form is not complete? That Grom didn't fully turn into Ida. It looks Ida, and we can see it's Ida, but Grom, he didn't fully turn into Ida. And for Luz, she felt like, oh, Ida is my fear because Ida is, she thinks that I'm fragile, because humans are fragile and I want to prove her wrong. That was not a fear, that was like, you know, a concern. Because Luz told Amity and her siblings that at time Ida was seeing Luz as fragile and weak to do those kind of tasks like fighting Grom, for example. Even King told Ida like,
maybe you were too hard on her. She saved you from multiple monsters, remember?
Facing Grom means facing your worst fear, King, and I don't think Luz knows what that means yet.
but Ida knows that fighting Grom, because I think Ida already fought Grom, probably, or she saw someone fighting Grom because she was in the same school. But Luz's fear wasn't Ida, was to face her own mother, explaining why Luz was in a demon realm and she's learning about magic. What could her mother think about that? Luz doesn't know. Luz could think that her mother could flip. When Grom was fighting Luz, Grom touched Luz's forehead and he saw the true fear at the moment. Luz's fear was the portal door and the mother. Because the mother, again, she didn't know how to explain the whole situation. Why she wasn't on camp and why she was in a strange world with demons and witches and whatever that is. Now, if we go see Amity's true fear, we can see that Grom shapeshifts into this mysterious figure. And Amity's fear was rejection. Because Amity's fear was rejection, especially from our little character, Luz. Because Amity was starting to have a crush on Luz. You never know the response or reaction about the person, so the note was kinda of like telling Luz, hey Luz, I'm starting to like you, so could you be my date for the Grom? So yeah, Amity's fear was rejection from Luz. Let's look how Grom Luz and Grom Ida look. They look very, but very similar, in a way that their form is not complete. And why is that? Both Grom forms of true fear are lies. In Luz's case, she wanted to prove Ida she can do things. In the end, the humans aren't that fragile. But in Amity's case, yes, that was a fear of being rejected. The fear of being rejected is very, but very painful. But that fear was small. Not all fears bring pain like rejection. Where I wanted to get with this is Amity's true fear is being a failure to the eyes of her parents. She has strict parents with strict rules, which one of them is not being friends with Willow, because Willow was not, just part of the society, the big society, being rich and stuff like that, but whatever. So Amity had to act like a bad guy in front of Willow. Of course, she was acting all superior, but she never mentally or physically tried to bully Willow. I mean, yes, there's moments that looks like she's bullying, but I don't know, that doesn't seem bully to me. I've seen worse cases than bully than this one. Yes, Bakugo, I'm looking at you. Don't you dare. Only Basha, at least for the whole season, was trying to pick on Willow. And Amity is trying really hard to impress her parents and to let them see she's not a failure. Impressing parents with small-minded like Mr. and Mrs. Blight is really hard. We don't know anything about them yet. We hope to see more about Amity's parents in the second season, because it was confirmed by Dana that we're gonna know more about Mr. and Mrs. Blight on the second season. And yeah, I want to see more of them, because they're very, very intriguing characters to study. Jesus, it looks like I'm an evil scientist trying to study people's minds, just... Amity sooner or later will have to face her real fear. If her parents find out that Amity is having fun with real nice friends, and especially with a human girl, which she has a big crush on, her parents will freaking flip, dude. Also, if you notice very carefully on Grom's transformation into the figure that was supposed to be Luz, if you slow motion before he goes to the ground Amity, you can see two creepy faces that Grom does. Two faces. It means something, doesn't it? And if Amity's fear was truly her parents, she literally hid it very well, but Grom only can show true fear at the moment that happens that day. There was actually one question on this post that made me intrigued even more. The person asked, but why Grom doesn't become her parents then? I respond, because her strong fear at the moment was Luz's rejection. Luz was fearing her mother at the moment too. You notice that carefully. Both of them had fears that happened or was mentioned that day. Luz's tiny fears like weird human cats, jerks online, and Ida, she mentioned it to Amity and her siblings. She wasn't thinking about her mother. Amity was all concerned about inviting Luz and what could be her reaction. I think Grom focused on fears that happen in our minds at the moment. If you see the whole episode over and over again, we can see that Amity's was too focused on the notes and rejection. And Luz's fear was her mother, yes, but sometimes she forgets about it. And she thinks like, oh, human cats, and Jerks Online, and Ida being a jerk, and you know, it's like that. You just think like, oh, I hate spiders. Do you? Why do you hate spiders? Because you're afraid that they're gonna bite you and you're gonna die? So your fear might be spiders, but your biggest fear is dying because of a spider. Because some spiders can probably bite, but they're not poisonous. So what's your fear? To be honest, my real fear is death. I don't like to think too much about it, because whenever I think too much about it, I have panic attacks. So yeah, that's my real fear, at least. So leave your thoughts on the comments. I try to respond as fast as possible. If I don't respond, it's because I have a lot of work to do, and I apologize. But I still want to hear what you think about my theory, okay? I'm Master Leah. I'll see you guys then on the next video.